What's up, guys, and welcome back to the channel. In this video, we're going to be installing the Holley Terminator X into the Calypso clone. We're going to be pulling out the old harness, putting the new stuff in. In part 2, though, we will fire the car up. With all that being said, you're going to notice immediately that I failed to tape my lower intake up. Always tape any open hole going into your engine. Either tape it up, cover it up with something. You don't want something getting down into your engine. We will talk about that in an upcoming video. But for now, let's go ahead and get to the install.
Go ahead, start unplugging stuff, get everything out. Especially for right now, I would just focus on getting your injector harness out. We pretty much all know how to do this. You're gonna have to unplug some stuff down here for your oil sealing unit. All gonna have to be unplugged, and we're gonna come back in later and actually take some of these wires and reuse them. So all right, so once you unplug everything, and I do mean everything, guys, when they tell you that it replaces the whole harness, it replaces the whole harness, right? So I knew that, but I guess I didn't really think about it. But literally, see, I had to buy this harness. I think I bought this thing from a subscriber, if I'm not mistaken. And that whole harness that runs your car, minus your dash harness. Now this is all going to be your dash harness stuff down here that you see, these connectors, and they may be different colors depending on your year model, but everything else is going to have to come out, right? Any other wires that you need, the best way to go about doing this is separate them once you get this thing pulled out. So let's go ahead and do that now. Also on the inside, make sure that all of your grounds and everything else is disconnected. If I'm being completely honest with you, this is really like sometimes a two-person job because things kind of get hung up. Right here is your EEC relay. And look at that, that thing's already cut. But that's kind of one of the big things that you need to make sure that you get out of the way first and just slowly kind of pull everything out. And the thing I want to stress the most is, as tempting as it may seem, don't just snatch it. Just try to finesse it out because it will come, guys. Just like that. And let me show you something. See all those marks? That's from just pulling on this thing too hard, right? You don't need to do that. Let's go ahead and get, like I said, everything disconnected for now, right? Whatever we need, we will worry about that later, but for right now, this is what we are worried about. So there you go. So let's talk about total time up to this point. Honestly, I'd say an hour. By the time you take your seats out, your kick panel, your intake and all that stuff, if you're pretty swift, about an hour's time. Okay, so we got an hour down right now, and we have our wiring harness out. We are now ready to go ahead and start putting the new wiring harness in. Now, everything else can be done from under the card. You see what I'm saying? Don't worry about, well, I don't know which wire to cut. We'll go through the harness in a minute. What we need to do now, though, is go ahead and get the new harness in the car, and then we can come back over here, take our time with this, and not have the time pressure of, man, I don't even have the harness in the car yet. We can do all the work we need to do inside the car, or at least I hope anyway. Catch you guys in just a minute. So we have our harness right here. This is our main harness. You're gonna have some other stuff like in your box, but let me lay this out for you. This is gonna be your main harness. So you can identify it because, well, obviously it's bigger. So this is gonna be fairly simple to get in the car. It's not gonna be as complicated as you might think. Now, I went ahead and took the liberty of installing this first. Now, this is gonna be the power cable, the power cord that powers up your Terminator X. Remember, I want you to think of it this way. You have taken out this car's ability to be computerized. It is no longer EFI. All of that was controlled here, meaning all of the power and everything that went to the computer, it has no capabilities anymore. So there's no other way to do this than to completely put a new harness in with power and everything. So instead of getting power from up here off one little cable. Now look what you've got. You've got some pretty beefy wires, and this is going to be pretty simple. So what I did was just put this over here for now. That's going to be your power and your negative. All we have to do is start pushing this thing in from the outside of the car down, and then I'll show you guys what it looks like inside. That's it. As you can see, we don't have a lot of it in, but it should be enough to go ahead and reach over here. I got to take this call, guys. What's going on, brother?
Not much, man. What you up to?
Just installing this Terminator X. Yeah.
You ready for that?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Absolutely. All right, guys. As you can hear, that was Matthew at Leach Motorsports. He's going to be working with me on this, and there's some stuff that he wants to get out to you guys. Maybe like a tuning session where he tunes my car and kind of goes through everything. Like I said, there's some things that he really wants to show you guys. So we will handle that whenever we get to it. So be looking forward to that video, because if you guys don't know, Matthew is the real deal. According to the instructions, we are going to have to unplug some of these relays, get them out of the way. All right, so once we get that in, like I said, guys, you finesse this stuff. Don't go like pulling on this real hard. All right. So we know that our connections have to go back here. So this has got a long ways to go, right? But for now, we need to move up here and make sure that everything else will fit through the hole. So I'm thinking that we may have enough room to grab this, but I may need to go ahead and push those through separately. All right, so I'm gonna go ahead, feed all this through. I'll get back with you guys in just a minute. As you can see, most everything is pushed through right now. The only thing I did was go ahead and take this out of the loop that it comes in. This is going to be for your fuel pump relay and all that stuff, or your bypass, I should say. And what we're going to do now is come in here, and we're just going to start easing these wires through here. And that's pretty much everything inside the car, minus your map sensor, vacuum hose. So all that stuff's gonna have to come through as well. And we'll worry about like routing everything a little later. But for right now, we've got the harness in, and now we can kind of get a better game plan, if you will. Really the hard part for all of this, if I'm being honest, is taking out what you need in that, or at least I think anyway, but we'll see. I'll let you guys know on that. Let's do an overview of where we are right now. So as you can see, we have the wiring harness coming through. I don't have the grommet in yet, but I will be putting it back in. I had to split it, cut it open. We've got everything hooked up, the ignition. So this is what I want to tell you guys. It's pretty much plug and play up until a certain point. It's plug and play up until about right now, meaning, and if you guys haven't seen all the reviews, meaning this is going to be your map sensor. Well, this doesn't connect to the 3-bar map. So this has to be repinned. Not a problem, but it's going to take a little bit of time to do that, so we're not going to do that right now. But all you'll do is repin this with these connectors so that it works in there. Pretty easy, no big deal there. And we have some other stuff that we're going to have to do. This is for the TPS over here. Here's the intake sensor. So we've got all this stuff over here that we're going to have to deal with. So not a big deal for right now. This is going to be a good stopping point for us. I do have the other part of the harness that comes around and connects to your battery terminals right here. So they are connected. We should be good on that. I don't know if we have to do any trimming or whatever. If we have to do some extensions, we will. But for right now, all that looks good. Basically just spend a little bit of time kind of plugging everything up, if you will, everything that needs to be plugged up. As you can see, I've already got the Holley mounted in here. Well, it's not mounted, but it's mounted to the plate. And you can mount this pretty much wherever, but I am going to try to use it right here. And it just mounts through the seat. Everything's just hooked up to make sure I had enough wire, and obviously I do. All of this will be ran underneath the carpet here. These wires have certain spots that they need to go to, so they're going to have to kind of travel around the cabin of the car. So it's not been bad so far. It's definitely not something that you're just going to go out and do in a couple of hours. I mean, that's just not going to happen. I would say it'd probably take the average guy a couple of days, probably just taking their time with it, maybe a little help here and there. At least allow yourself one full day if you're going to be doing this, and obviously you're probably going to need some help. You do have to put your new sensors in, so it comes with new sensors, so there and there. And other than that, guys, that's about it. So this is pretty much, I guess you would call the easy part, depending on what you like to do. I personally don't like wiring, so the next part is more of the aggravating part, if you will. So what I want to do is go ahead, make all my connections. You guys will see that in the next video. I'm not going to video every like in and out of that, but what I will do is come back and show you what I put where, like connection wise, and we'll go through the whole thing. So I'll pick back up with you in part 2 of this video, and as always, thanks for watching.